Hello, this is Anthony Zoller, and welcome to this Friday's 5. Today we're going to be discussing 5 common issues California employers need to understand about California's paid sick leave law. So welcome to another Friday's 5, and I'm getting a lot of questions, surprisingly, from employers throughout California about some of the issues arising under the paid sick leave law. Now, I want to caution everybody up front that this discussion is on California law. It's not pertaining to the various local city and county laws that could also be in place. So I want to talk about 5 common issues that have been coming up. The first one is that employers need to understand if employees have paid sick leave available, the employer cannot deny the employee the right to use the accrued paid sick days. So basically this includes the right to use paid sick leave for partial day absences, just for a few hours to attend a doctor's appointment. And the law also prohibits employers from disciplining an employee for using or asking to use the accrued paid sick leave. And we'll talk about some of the parameters about when employers can ask for documentation from a doctor here in the next few points. But it's important to keep in mind that employers can't discipline the employees for using or seeking to use the paid sick leave. Now, the second issue that employers need to keep in mind is that attendance policies could violate the paid sick leave law, and employers need to review those policies to ensure that they don't. So any attendance policies that basically discipline an employee or give them any kind of adverse employment disciplinary action for taking an unscheduled absence or not providing enough time in advance of taking an absence, just a flat out disciplinary action for any of those prohibited items could violate the law. So under the paid sick leave law, employers have to allow employees to take the time off for any of their own sickness or any family member's sickness to care for a family member as set out in the law. So employers need to make sure that their attendance policy doesn't violate those restrictions as well. The third issue that comes up a lot and employers need to understand is that once the employee uses all of their paid sick leave, the employer can then regulate any requested time off or absences just as they would otherwise. The law doesn't provide any protection for the employee after they use all of their paid sick leave. So the employer may have any other disciplinary action or prohibitions in place that regulate how much advance notice the employee needs to provide when they're absent and what kind of absences are excused and unexcused. And as long as it's outside of the paid sick leave, the accrued paid sick leave, the employer is free to regulate that after the employee has used all of their paid sick leave time. An example too that falls under this classification that I just saw, and I have a link below from the Labor Commissioner's website, they bring up the example if an employee was absent for 8 hours for a full day, but only has 4 hours of paid sick leave time, can the employer then discipline the employee for the other 4 hours of leave that they don't have paid sick leave available to use? And the Labor Commissioner does say that the employer may discipline the employee for being absent for those 4 hours that they didn't have paid sick leave time available for. Now, I want to caution all employers too, if the time off is otherwise protected under any kind of disability laws or FMLA or CFRA leave laws, employers have to think about that as well. But I'm just, for this video's purposes, just talking about the requirements under California's paid sick leave law. So fourth, employers need to keep in mind as well that only absences that are taken under and are allowed by the law are covered by the law. So if an employee is taking any other absence or is being absent for any other reason, the law does not provide them any protection. So for example, the law only covers an employee's absence for any diagnosis, care, or treatment of an existing health condition, or preventative care for an employee or an employee's family member. And you have to be careful, the term family member is defined very broadly as well. And second, another covered area of leave by the law is if the employee who is a victim of domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking also allows the employee to take this paid sick leave time for that as well. Any time off needed to deal with those types of situations. So 5, and finally, employers need to keep in mind, and I get this question a lot, when can they ask for a doctor's note from the employee? Now, it's a little unclear under the law, but basically, employers need to be very careful about when they require employees to bring in doctor's notes. Now, employers can ask the employee to bring in doctor's notes even when they do have time off for paid sick leave, and it's covered under the paid sick leave law. But employers should be very careful, and I don't recommend that employers discipline employees or not allow employees to take paid sick leave if they don't provide a doctor's note. So even though you ask for it, if the employee does not provide for it and they have paid sick leave, I think the most conservative action to take is just go ahead and pay out the paid sick leave, allow the employee to take the paid sick leave, don't discipline the employee. However, as I spoke about earlier, once the paid sick leave has been used up by the employee, they have no other paid sick leave available, then the employer can regulate that time off and can require a doctor's note and a doctor's note to excuse the employee for any other additional absences beyond the paid sick leave time that the employee has accrued. So I hope that answers a few questions and covers some of these topics I've been seeing come up in the paid sick leave area recently. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and let me know what you'd like me to address on the Fridays 5. I've been doing these videos a lot lately. It's a new format, and I'm just on a roll with the videos, so I hope you enjoy the videos. Feel free to provide any feedback for me, and hope you guys have a good weekend. Thanks.